Mum, take something now. Take something immediately. Thank you, Wallach. I'm coming now. I'm coming. And thank you. Thank you, Sean. Oh my God, when did this all happen? Oh, some of it happened 2 days. Hang on. I'll be there in a second. I can't listen to it today, guys. It's just you guys listening to it. So dance now, because we won't be dancing when the stream starts. Wait. Hello. Hi, guys. Hello. Okay. There's some things we have to address before we even begin. First of all, I still have a migraine. I have done what I can to make this possible. I've taken significant pain relief. The problem is, there's a point, it's getting me through now, there may come a point where I start to fall asleep. Okay? So we can't do a lot of moving of the head. We're doing the best we can. 2, we must all wish the sheriff a happy birthday. Big happy birthday to the sheriff. How exciting. A good astrological time to be born too. Because it's a freaking new moon. What a time to be born. big happy birthdays to the sheriff, who is so supportive and kind and creative and talented. We're wishing the sheriff the happiest of birthdays. Honestly, if it were not the sheriff's birthday, I may not be here because I do not feel well. But also, guys, we must be monitoring the situation. There's a lot to that one super bright light, I don't quite know how to turn down. This one I could turn down a little bit more moody. Feels birthday, man. Yeah. It's the sheriff's birthday. Should we sing to him? Happy birthday to you. Wait, I don't know if I can use his real name or not. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear sheriff. And now I'll do the annoying thing where I harmonize. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Okay, guys. So, what else do we have to address before we begin? Hip hip hooray! Okay. We need to address the shower orange for those that were in Pixel's stream. Oh my gosh! Hang on. No.
Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Of course. We have to give birthday wishes to important members of the community. This is the sheriff of Silly Peaks. That's important. VT. Rough, man. Breakups suck. Morning, Faith. Morning, Vox. Listen. The shower orange. She was really... This is how the story went, according to the Gospel of Joe. Many years ago, Pixel was having a bad day. And she was not handling it well. So I told her to do what helps me. Get in the fucking shower. Just nothing matters as much when you're in the shower. Time moves different in the shower. Thoughts move different in the shower. I told Pixel to get in the shower. She was coming up with reasons she couldn't get into the shower. She said at the time, if I recall, she felt her skin was coming off. Something very bizarre like that. Something only someone like Pixel would say. She said she felt unclean. She said the shower wasn't clean and she wasn't clean. I was like, the shower's easy to clean. Just throw some vinegar in there, you're all good. She was like, no, but I also feel unclean. My skin is coming off. I don't like the smell of the vinegar. And I said, well, an orange peel will overcome any other smell. I learnt this in the Middle East because all the girls used to put oud on me. Yeah, and I said the shower is the perfect thing to clean while you're in it. Yeah, I said this. I said, but you can use orange peel because the girls who used to put oud on me, it's a very overpowering smell. My teacher used to give me orange peel to rub on my skin to get rid of that smell. So just take oranges into the shower with you. Now she's saying that I said, from what I could hear from that story, that I said, the key to feeling better is to eat a whole orange in the shower. Just bite into it. I did not say this. This is a lie. This is a lie. So I just want the record to show that the correct story is sensible. I didn't come up with some mythical seance type thing to do in the shower. And say just sit in the shower and eat a fucking orange. Would I look crazy? No, I'm not crazy. Okay. Secondly, I'm upset that I have a headache because I'm trying to become the expert of AI. And I can't do that when I have a headache. I can't play with Claude. I just want to play with Claude and I can't. And you guys have no idea what that's like. Because I also can't sleep. I can't do anything. All I can do is complain about how much pain I'm in. It makes me a real joy to be around. Ooh, have you not smelt it, Vox? Oh, you're gonna like. Okay, when I went through my last breakup, I was like, I need to become a new woman. I need to become a totally new woman. And that involves a new scent for me. That's a big part of it. And I was like, I want oud. Like, I want something so different from what I was doing before. And Bella had her new perfume, so I thought, oh, I'll try that. I never did because it was more of a thought experiment than a real experiment. But when I go back to the States, maybe I will try Bella Hadid's perfume because it's Middle Eastern smells. Do you want to come up here, princess? No? You just want to say hi? Okay. Well, you have to monitor the situation because people are getting killed and stuff. You wouldn't get it. I know. I made my own dashboard with AI, but now it is no longer loading. So I don't know what that is about. So I'm going to have to work that out on my own time. Just, I don't even know what DLSS5 is. That's how bad I am at being an AI expert currently. Lime and baking soda for stinky underarms, my fam says. No, you know what the key to a stinky underarm is? This is I don't know about boys because I feel boys, they smell their own way. But to all the girls watching, what you want to do is invest in a salicylic acid deodorant because it's all about keeping skin turning over because it's the bacteria that makes the smell. So if you get a salicylic acid, and for men, if you get the ordinary's glycolic acid and you put that onto a spherical sort of thing and you do a little wipe, just keep the skin turning over. Oh, okay, it's a something to do. It's a meme. Being Persian American during this war, I bet it is. Because there's no good outcomes. There's nothing good for you. No, glycolic acid for the underarms or salicylic acid. Right after immediately go back to how am I going to live without this person phase? Then I go back to being me. Yeah, I mean, look, if you guys want to know, to be weird and overshare with you, I wear Byretto's Mojavo's Ghost most of the time. That is my go-to scent. Occasionally I mix it up with a different, like very niche perfume. For the most part, that's what I'm wearing. I really love the Jo Malone Amber and Lily scent, but I don't feel that I can pull it off. So I put that on my bed. The problem is, Faith, I can't afford an American doctor. I need shit that's covered by socialized healthcare. Okay, we do have to go over some Iran stuff because shit's getting insane. Thank you for being awesome, Nasty Productions. What do you currently use on your scars? I mean, Arash, you know what's so funny? I have a friend named Arash as well, who's also Persian. Unless you're my friend, but I don't think so. Yes, I would like Iran to be free from the Islamic Republic too. What I'm trying to say is, as a big goal, that's obviously what I would like. In the short term, it doesn't seem like any option that's being taken gets us closer to that. So it's kind of like, guys, I think I'm going to try and talk to that Iran wonk guy because he offered some really interesting perspectives that kind of shifted my thinking. And this is something that I think is really important that for all of us to keep in mind, right? Which is conflicts that last more than 12 days. You should try really hard not to let your analysis become ossified to the point that like no new information can change it. Like every opinion should be changeable. You shouldn't have opinions that are impervious to a rethink when more information is brought to the surface, especially in these kinds of situations, right? This isn't a maths problem. It's a very complex geopolitical problem, which at its core, at the very base, at the end of the day, the thing that makes it so consequential and the thing that makes it so movable is the fact that when we are looking at geopolitics, we're looking at human beings. We're looking at them in scale, and we're looking at them on a micro level in terms of position of power. So, one thing that I think is really important here is like there may have been some wisdoms or analyses that I previously put out to you guys that I would like to just question mark, because I don't feel that those, I would hate for you to still be repeating that analysis which applied in week 1 that I don't necessarily, that I don't necessarily think applies anymore. And that relates to okay, when everything was first hit, when Khamenei and the first like 40 odd people were taken out, my opinion was very much like, great, now you're going to have, these are going to be replaced by people more hardline, right? I'm seeing that repeated today with Laranji and Soleimani and Khatib being assassinated. It's like, great, now they're going to be replaced by more hardline people. I don't think that analysis tracks here, because once that first line of command was taken out, what you really had was a move from, okay, how do I say this? Once Khamenei was taken out, the IRGC were in control. Maybe not visibly, and maybe the puppetry of politics still played, but the hardline people were in control the second Khamenei was out. So being like, oh, you took out Laranji, now it's going to be the hardline people. It's like, no. Let's be very clear. Okay, the hardline people are already in control, and we're not taking people out. Now, I maintain that I don't think decapitation is a meaningful strategy in the case of Iran necessarily. Not alone, not without a strategy behind it. I don't think you can decapitate the regime in a way that leads to political change in Iran. I think it requires something different. However, I will say that a couple of streams ago, I said, very strange to be assassinating all of these people and leaving in place, in situ, the very architects of the massacre of civilians. If the thing you're trying to promote to happen is to get the civilians into the street to do an uprising, you want to be taking out the head of the Basij, you want to be taking out Laranji, you want to be taking out these people who are linked to this actual oppressive action. Now, there are some, how do I say, I always worry. I love Preston. My fave mill YouTuber Preston is making videos from downrange US soldiers. Oh God, for downrange. Okay, jeez, that's bleak, isn't it, Faith? Oh, I don't like that. Okay, I want to do an assessment here. Yeah, they did. They so in the last 24 hours, we've seen Laranji, Khatib, and Soleimani taken out, different Soleimani, which is Khatib is like an intelligence guy, and Soleimani is the head of the Basij, which is the volunteer militia type wing of the IRGC, the one that's probably in the millions. They're the people who are most likely to go out into the street and put down any uprising. But Laranji was the one who really orchestrated the oppressive action. Now, also, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I haven't been listening to anything because I've been really unwell. So please forgive me if it's pronounced differently. I've only been reading analysis and I don't speak Farsi, so I know I should Is it Laranjani? And I'm saying Laranji. I'm just, Laranjani. Thank you, Laranjani. Thank you. Perfect. I really appreciate that, Arash. Yeah, so look, I want to say something about Laranjani without, but I want to be very clear about something else. This man is such a horrible man. This is not a good man. I see that there are people mourning his loss, oddly, like reporters and stuff. Maybe because he's cogent and intelligent. You've always got to be careful of the intelligent bad guys, right? Just like with Bibi, the intelligent ones are likely to be the charming ones, are likely to be the ones who know how to manipulate you just because they're charming, just because you were able to have a conversation with them and they seemed so they seemed so elevated, they seemed so intelligent. Just because they were able to manipulate you doesn't make them a good person, right? So he's dead, good riddance. There is an issue with this, right? And the issue exists. Two things can be true. He can be the worst person alive who deserves to be dead. Outside of Khamenei, this is a very powerful person in Iran who, if anyone's going to be decapitated, if you're going to assassinate anyone, and mind you, I have a real problem with the growing trend of just assassinating political leaders in other countries. I think it's bizarre that it's become so normalized in such a short period of time. But just because he was well-spoken and intelligent and all of these things doesn't mean that he wasn't a horrible, horrible person. In fact, his intelligence probably enabled him to be more horrible. Okay? Now, here's where the two things can be true. This man can be very horrible and terrible, and he can also be the last remaining link, really, for those in Iran that are connecting the battlefield with politics, right? So when it comes to Pezeshkian, who I've always said is more of a moderate than those who came before, when it comes to the political system and its separation from the IRGC, it really feels to me now, with Laranjani gone, that it's all going to be IRGC now. Okay. The other thing is, you know how Trump keeps going like, oh, we'd negotiate, but I don't even know who I'm negotiating with. That is now a reality because he definitely was the person to negotiate with. And the stone cold reality of all conflicts is they end at the negotiating table. Every single one. Even if there is definitive military action, everything ends up at the negotiating table. So to me, it's concerning because it's concerning on the American side, because when it comes to like bringing this to an end, it's like, well, we would bring it to an end if we knew who the fuck to talk to, but we don't know who are you going to talk to now? Hang on, I've got my notes here, but I just haven't had the opportunity to sort them because, as I said, I've been unwell. Actually, let me just look at chat for a second and see what you guys are bopping about. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't intelligent. He was just charming. He wasn't actually smart. Thank you, Faith. Wait, fuck.
Got a dip for work. Hope you feel better, Joe. Smile.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So, my brain. I wanted to read what you were saying. That's right. We've got a lot to talk about in terms of the Strait. We've got to talk about Kharg Island. Kharg Island. I don't know how I want to say it. It's so different. We've got to talk about the Gulf. We really, really, really must talk about Lebanon. Iran's plan was always to split federal control and to decentralize regional control if they are invaded. Decapitation is functionally useless to a fully guerrilla well, they've always had a decentralized defense strategy. As I've said in many previous streams, you have to think, if Khamenei designed the system, essentially, if you have Khomeini as the kind of figurehead, idealized image of what the Islamic Revolution was, and then you have Khamenei coming in and being the architect of the political system, you have to think that this was really being designed against the Iraq-Iran war. So the whole system was designed against a backdrop of war. And the whole time that the Islamic Republic has existed, it has been existing against other states, right? With this threat. Now, that's the overall strategy, but we know for a fact that come the 12-day war last year, June, that's when they really put into place the 5 separate lines of command and control. That was when they were like, okay, next time they come for us, they're really, really going to come for us. And we really, really have to be prepared. So it's not just a system that was built this way. It's a system that was built and prepared over a year for this war. Zula, not only France and Britain, but Japan and Australia. There's 2 things that I think are crazy. One, when all of your allies are like, no, which is, Australia is like a sycophantic little brother. There has never been a conflict that hasn't looked attractive to us if America has said, please come, right? Like, we have never said no to America. For Australia to say no to America is so huge. Like, I don't think anyone, since we existed, we have never said no to America. We do whatever they want. This is such a huge deal. And the fact that pretty much every ally is doing the same thing. And you know that Trump is stressed. And you know how you know? Not a single Truth Social about the Oscars. Not one. My mans love talking about pop culture. Not a single tweet. Not one. Do you know what I read Longhorse Studios that has me really concerned? Let me see if I've got it somewhere in my notes. It was about Syria. Okay, so a news report from Reuters is saying that the US is encouraging Syria to consider sending forces into eastern Lebanon to help disarm Hezbollah. But Damascus is reluctant to embark on such a mission for fear of being sucked into the war. So fucking terrible. Such a terrible idea. Apparently, Trump is essentially asking Syrian Al-Qaeda to invade Lebanon. Bizarro. Strait is likely mined, and securing the coast requires boots on the ground. I think the strait is looking more and more like a boots on the ground situation. The only way that I can see without ending the war to reopen the strait is to put boots on the ground, which just fucking sucks. We should have just let Europe deal with Russia. Who's we? I don't know about that one. Old World Order is completely... Yeah, I don't like Alexander Dugin's strategy at all. Am I hungover? No, I have a migraine, but thank you for your concern. Al-Qaeda going into Lebanon. Guys, the Lebanon situation is so bad. So, hang on. Do you guys know where... Okay, Zula. I really do believe... I mean, this is the thing. Longhorse, there are so many bad GCC things that I think are happening. And it relates... Look, I think you guys... I hope you guys know. I hope I can say this and you agree with me. Otherwise, why the fuck do I even try? Can you? Puppy snoring again. Okay. Shut up. My dog is snoring so loud. She always comes, lies right next to me and starts snoring. And I already have a headache. And now I'm battling these like grunts. And I can't even hear myself think because she's snoring so freaking loud. Oh my God. It's obnoxious. Look, I have never been a huge fan of NATO. Just because I feel like, well, the reasons I wasn't a fan of NATO were kind of, to be honest, I have been wrong about things, okay? I believed that integration with Russia was possible. I believed that I was like, well, NATO is an organization that has its very core that this is a way to protect against Russia. And how are we ever going to move forward? And like, how is there ever going to be a good relationship between Russia and Europe so long as this massive organization exists where at its very core, it's like, fuck Russia. I was like, no, we should all, live in peace and harmony. And then Russia invaded Ukraine. And I was like, okay. Oh my God. Why? Thank you for telling me, Sheriff. Thank you. Okay, but I don't really want to talk about NATO because I actually haven't updated my thoughts. Other than knowing my last thoughts were wrong, I don't know what my new thoughts are. Okay? Apple! Hey, Baba, get up. Go to bed. You can't sleep here and snore. You gotta go to the bed. Go on. Apple. Go. Come on. Get up. Go to bed. Vanished. Go. No. I love you. Go to bed. It's so loud. I can't even tell you. The thing is, this is the problem when it comes to, okay, this is the things that I wanted to say that I was, hang on, let me just find my notes here before I say something crazy. Yeah. So I've been really sensitive about buying into any kind of talk of like, oh, they're trying to make a greater Israel, or like, oh, like Israel's trying to undercut any hope of peace to extend the war. I've been really careful about avoiding that. But there comes a point where like there's a critical mass of facts that are lining up, right? They're not like disputable facts. They're like, okay, these meetings were had and these people are reporting that there was strong Israeli encouragement for this and then these are the actions that are taking place. And there are certain things that are happening where I'm like, okay, we have to come to a point where we acknowledge at the very least that the operational goals of Israel and the United States are not aligned. Now, the operational goals of the United States, who the fuck knows what they are, but the operational goals of Israel are very clear, and they're kind of locking the US into a certain position. So in terms of the Greater Israel thing, saying that everyone south of the Litani River needs to evacuate and they are going to blow up the bridges, essentially taking that land, essentially taking the south of Lebanon, right? That is ethnic cleansing for occupation. That is just a fact. There's no way around that. There's no other way to report that. When you tell people to evacuate, you tell them that you are going to blow up any opportunity for them to come back and you are going to occupy that zone. That is ethnic cleansing. I don't know how else to describe that. I'm not trying to say anything bombastic. I really try to avoid bombastic coverage of war because war is bombastic enough. I don't need to exaggerate what the fuck is going on, right? But I don't know how else to kind of report that. Then there's Israel, who's the fucking, yeah, Israel Katz, the defense minister, right? Is saying that today we're going to experience, that he said, well, first of all, we've taken out the intelligence guy, Ismail Khatib, right? And then he's like, and expect significant surprises tomorrow because we're going to escalate the war. And we are now, he said that Benjamin Netanyahu has authorized the IDF to eliminate any senior Iranian figure without the need for additional approval. Do you realize what an insane thing that is to say? There's no plan in that sentence. That sentence involves no plan to make peace. That's just killing until there's no one left to kill. There's no plan in that, right? That's crazy. And I need you to understand that prior to this, killing political leadership was a huge deal. It didn't happen like this. It's so concerning. Concerning isn't even half of it. I don't know the words to describe that, but it's like, well, this is the problem. It feels to me very much like it's less a campaign that is kind of guided by any sort of long-term strategy, any sort of objective, and more a pattern of opportunistic operational moves where it's all like motivated by frustration. So it's not like, oh, this is our goal and this is what we're working toward to get to our goal. It's, hey, we can do this now. We have the opportunity to do this right now if you want. It's like, yeah, fuck them. Let's get it done. Let's do this. It'll make us feel good. And it's like, what do you want though? What are we trying to do here? Right? Because like, this is how the thing that kind of, oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. The thing that really got me thinking like this is what I see as us now getting on a path to uncontrolled escalation. Like, you think it's been bad so far? No. The bombing of the Iranian natural gas facility in Bushehr province, not good at all. So Israel said they conducted that strike on the natural gas facility with the full coordination of the United States, right? Now, that is completely consistent with Israel's objectives because Israel doesn't want to just destroy Iran's military and their capabilities. It wants to get rid of their industrial base, their economy. It wants state collapse. It doesn't want regime change. Netanyahu, of course, is going to say, we welcome the new regime. A new regime that is friendly with the West is absolutely the last thing that Israel wants. If you look at Israel's goal, right? Israel's goal is to be the linchpin in the Middle East, the strongest state in the Middle East. An Iran that is economically powerful and friendly with the West and friendly with the Gulf states is the last thing that Israel wants. So they're really aiming for state collapse. And you can disagree with me on that, but I think there is an overwhelming amount of evidence to support that analysis. The reason I think that Israel attacked the energy infrastructure in Iran isn't just to destroy the economy and infrastructure, but it's because Iran has made it very clear that their energy facilities were a bright red line for them. And that if their energy facilities or their energy infrastructure were to be attacked, that they would retaliate by attacking the infrastructure throughout the Persian Gulf, so the Gulf states, right? So if Iran does respond the way that they said they would respond, they will be attacking the energy infrastructure in the Gulf. This will be catastrophic for the entire world. Well, they're allowing any oil to flow, Bobby, from anyone who pays in Chinese yuan, because they're blocking oil for those assisting their attacker. I mean, to me, how did you not know this was going to happen? If you're America, play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Why did you do this if you didn't have complete assurity that you had control over the strait? Why would you do that? Why would you do this? What are you doing? Right? Like, why wouldn't Iran keep giving oil to China? Why wouldn't they? It's so silly. Why wouldn't they? It's also very strange to me that it's like blocking the Strait of Hormuz is unfair and not okay and very bad, but blocking all energy going to Cuba is somehow normal and fair. I just would like some clarity and consistency around these sorts of things. And if it's a completely different situation, I'm open to hearing about it, but I don't understand what the fuck is going on there. It feels like they're blocking oil to Cuba to try and collapse the state, but it's like, yeah, I'm sure everyone fucking knew it and Trump did it anyway. What are with all the fucking crazies in the chat tonight? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Cernu. Outpost move is tied to collapsing support for Israel in the West. Yeah, I think it's really dangerous. Well, it's become very dangerous, and I mean, I wonder, I don't know. I was really upset by that attack that happened in America recently on a synagogue, and I just think it's so sickly to associate Jewish diaspora with the state of Israel, but at the same time, the state of Israel has gone out of their way to train the Jewish diaspora to associate themselves strongly with the state of Israel. And it's like, I don't think it was ever meant to be used in this very cynical, terrible way that it's currently being used. I know, look, yes, that synagogue does IDF recruitment. Okay, the man who did the terrorist attack had just had his children die in an action by the state of Israel. I'm saying I have a problem with the push of the state of Israel to connect itself to the Jewish diaspora, right? What I'm saying is attacking, maybe that synagogue does those things, but you can't attack a synagogue. You're attacking Jewish people attending the synagogue, right? So just because a synagogue does something doesn't mean that the people you are hurting actively endorse that, right? I just think we're at such a fucking terrible place. It's so bad, but like, and I always say this, like, I'm gonna be very, very, very strong on anti-Semitism, very, very strong on any anti-Semitic attention given to Jewish diaspora, purely for the fact that they are Jewish, purely for the fact that they don't absolutely pray for the destruction of Israel. I'm gonna be hard on that so that I can meaningfully criticize Israel, right? I'm sitting here telling you what is happening in Lebanon right now with the Litani River is ethnic cleansing. I'm telling you that Israel is actively going out of their way to try and cause state collapse in Iran and to make this war spread. So I'm not holding back on my criticism of Israel. I'm saying that Israel deliberately makes it so that the Jewish diaspora grow up learning to identify themselves with the state of Israel. And it ends up requiring some deconstruction as an adult because, like, if you want to go into I mean, it's kind of so beside the point, and I don't think anyone is in the mentally clear space to be able to have the conversation. But Zionism as an ideology is a nationalistic ideology which teaches you that the Jewish people are an ethnicity that come from Israel. So you are taught that being Jewish, which is an ethnicity as well as a religion, means that you, by your very blood, have a connection to Israel. Is that true? Is that not true? Not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that that is the narrative that is fed to a lot of people in the Jewish diaspora from the moment they are born. And so what I'm saying is that creating a mythology like that around your country and then using that exact same mythology to shield yourself when you commit war crimes only creates a really dangerous reality for all of those in the diaspora. And this was an argument that was had at the very creation of Zionism. The liberal Zionists who opposed the creation of Israel said, if you create a state and you say that we are from that state, then every other country we live in will always be outsiders. Will always be people who are from somewhere else. Will always be people who need to go back to where we came from. If you create a state and you say that we are from there, you cement our position as outsiders. That was an argument against the creation of Israel by Zionists before Israel was created. Okay, so there are lots of viewpoints that exist. I'm just saying, don't, in the same way, I wouldn't want people attacking members of the Iranian diaspora and being like, oh, you're related to the Islamic Republic. I'm just yes, it's stressing me out. I blame Likud as well, but the thing is, it's I don't know. I have a lot of criticisms for Likud, but it's not just Likud. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, Yair Lapid said, if Benjamin Netanyahu wants to go ahead and attack Iran, there will be no opposition. And there is some opposition in Israel. I can't remember their name. I heard them being spoken about today, but there's not really much opposition right now. There's not many people, and they have been, since Benjamin Netanyahu has held power, I mean, since the very first time that he came up as Prime Minister in 1993, since he's been in power, he has been mentally training the people of Israel for this moment, to the point that I believe if you went to Israel today and you said, how do you feel about this war with Iran? They'd say, it's about fucking time. It's about time. People will die, but we need it to happen. No, Yair Lapid supports, Naftali Bennett supports. It's Omar. It's not a strong person. Ofer Kasif, I think. Yeah, from Hadash. So Hadash is not gonna be. They're trying to expel him. He's had a suspension from the Knesset, but Ofer Kasif has been very critical of this war and the war in Gaza. And Ayman Odeh is also part of the Hadash. So Hadash is the only, but we're not, in terms of the strong, oh guys, it's okay if we got rid of Netanyahu, it could be Lapid. Lapid is pushing the exact same point of view. The opposition that you're looking for, if you went and you spoke to an Israeli person today, they support this action. And I don't say that so you're like, yeah, fuck all of Israel. No. I just think we need to be very clear-eyed about the situation. And if you're like, oh, it's just Netanyahu, the problem doesn't go away if Netanyahu goes away, right? It's the same sort of thing that leads people to think that decapitation is going to do something in Iran. Or the same, I know I've got members of the Iranian diaspora in here, but I'm sure that even you could agree that within the 93 million people who are part of Iran, some of them support the regime. Some of them are out there supporting the regime, in the streets supporting the regime, right? You don't have 93 million people ready to take to the streets to overthrow the government. if you did, it would be simple, but that's not the case. But yeah, the thing that I think is the attempt by Israel that I find really concerning here is that I think that Israel is, well, it's Netanyahu waiting for trials. They can also dismiss most of the stuff about them. Like the 5 soldiers who raped that Palestinian prisoner had their charges dismissed. No one talked about it. The ones that were caught on video raping the prisoner, gang raping a Palestinian prisoner that they took from Gaza, a doctor, gang raping him. They just had their charges dismissed. So if you think when it comes to any sort of internal investigation for the war in Gaza, keep in mind that's a strategic choice, because if a country prosecutes, it kind of takes precedent over international courts. And so it's like, oh, if they're dealing with it, let them deal with it first. So a lot of those charges are actually strategic to protect from external litigation. And shouldn't be seen as a serious attempt at holding anyone to account for the war. It's to protect their soldiers. Yeah, but I don't know if you remember when these people first got arrested, the people protested to get them out. Like this is like the only person who may actually be facing court and has their survival riding on this is Netanyahu. Is my mic really quiet? It's because I'm not well. I'll turn my gain up. It's also, I don't like the sound of me swallowing. I stress out by what you can hear. I don't know, Teflon. It feels like America does. I mean, America has a rapist president, so I guess in a way January 6th was a pro-rape protest. Yeah, but I think that if Iran strikes the GCC countries' energy infrastructure, I don't even know. It's so bad. It's because the thing is, Iran currently has the capacity to do that. It can currently do that. I don't know. I feel like Washington previously has been like, don't do that, because obviously it fucks up the entire world's energy supply. And that would be really bad, and it would really upset, our allies in the region. But it said they signed off in the last one. I don't understand what is happening here. What is the end state? Thank you, Ahmad. I'm not trying to be. What I'm trying to do in my coverage of Operation Epic Fury is highlight the very real, tyrannical, evil nature of the Islamic Republic and the regime that's associated with it, and the kind of maniacal, torturous reality of the IRGC. Okay. While also being very sober in my analysis of what Western forces are doing. Because those two realities can be true and not interact at all. It can be true that all of this is happening with the Iranian regime, and all of this is happening with Operation Epic Fury, and neither one touches the edges of the other. Because I can promise you this, what is not good for Iranians is a failed state. becoming a new Syria is not good for the Iranian people. So it's like, I would love an operation that is clear about a strategy. It's not that, it's not if they hit them harder, they'll learn not to hit back. They want to be the only person in the region that can hit. This is not a strategy of deterrence, it's a strategy of dominance. A strategy of deterrence is what I would say the Islamic Republic is doing right now. They're trying to make this operation, this escapade, hurt so much that no one thinks to attempt it again. And they're doing that through energy because that's the tool that they have, right? We'll close the Strait of Hormuz. We'll stop letting it, we'll attack your energy infrastructure. We'll do this. Israel wants Iran to no longer exist as a functioning state because they are the biggest threat to them in the region. And so they don't want them to exist at all in their current capacity. Thank you, Blue Room. I really appreciate it. And so I just think that's an important distinction to make because Israel does have a mow the grass kind of, well, traditionally it had a mow the grass kind of mentality about places like Gaza and Lebanon, where it was like, we'll hit you every couple of years to take away your capabilities and to keep you at bay. Whereas with a big dog like Iran, they don't want to have to go back in 2 years, nor do they believe that they will have the ability because under a different president, they won't. Under any other president, Israel would not have been able to strike Iran like that. And so knowing that they're not going to be able to do mow the grass here, they have to do state collapse. They have to degrade capabilities to the point that it's impossible for Iran in the next 10 to 20 years to attack Israel. So it has to be the collapse of the state. Not regime change is a terrible outcome for Israel. A Western-friendly regime is the worst outcome in their mind. Bobby, literally, that's what it is. They don't want them to have any technical ability. They don't want them to have any working economy. They don't want them to have a military. It's literally that. Guys, I hate when I'm sick because I get so inflamed and puffy and then I have to be on camera to work. And then all I'm doing is looking at myself and being like, ew. It really sucks. But I want you to, okay, just also, this is why I really want to focus on Lebanon because I think Lebanon is such a secret war that's happening like under the guise of like what's happening with Iran is so serious. It's like, okay, for instance, you're hitting energy infrastructure in Iran. That's such a big deal that telling 1 out of 5 people in Lebanon to evacuate their homes and that they'll never be coming back isn't even breaking into the main news cycle. Forcibly displacing 1 million people in Lebanon and then telling people, oh, we're just going to take this bit of land now, isn't even making the news. And they're now bombing just straight up Beirut. Like, a lot of you will have heard about the Daesh, which is like the south part of Beirut, which is where it's a Hezbollah stronghold, which is such... People live there. People live there. It's like, think about any part of your town where like maybe there's bikies or maybe there's gangs and it's like being like, oh yeah, that's a gang area. It's like, okay, but normal people live there too. Thank you, Kevin. What was I saying? Sorry, my head. Just give me a second. I wrote something down about this. Sorry guys, just give me a second. Oh my god. I have all this stuff about Larajani, but nothing that I wanted to read on this. Hang on. Hang on, guys. Exit. It's Larajani's thesis. He was very intelligent, but still very, very bad. Two things can be true. Sorry. Maybe I didn't write this down. I thought I had a map and everything. Okay. But the thing, okay, so that's interesting that you say that, Ahmed, because the thing that I am really thinking when it comes to, even though I disagree, and I started by saying we need to be willing to kind of be not so ossified in our thinking about this when it comes to decapitation. It's not just like, oh, decapitation means that worse people will be installed in their place. There's two things I think are really important about if... Hang on, my shit's fucked. My shit's frozen. My shit is frozen. Firstly, I want to reiterate again. If Larajani was struck in Paradis, which is what people are suggesting, that's a private setting, that's like visiting family. Once again, we have a situation like Khamenei, which suggests two things. One, there is a deep, persistent penetration of Iran's security apparatus. Either it's spies, something is going on there. The infiltration is deep. There is a bug in the software, right? There has been a security breach in a major way that has not been resolved at all. So that's point one. But the problem that I keep seeing in terms of this and Khamenei before him is that every time this happens, it becomes sort of like a strategic martyrdom in that it exposes how stupid the decapitation strategy is, especially given the repeated failure. But it's like, now I do think Larajani is different to Khamenei. As I said, I think this is a different kind of kill. But the decapitation, attrition, invasion playbook is not something that is just unique to this conflict. Right? It's something that's been tried in a lot of different theaters before, and it doesn't fucking work. And it's like a failure. The fact that it's happened so many times in this specific conflict, it's like you are getting feedback immediately about what is working and what is not working, and you are not adapting to that feedback. Now, I just think that's even when, and it's crazier when you see Trump on the news saying that he attacked Iran out of habit, right? It feels like a lot of the tactical moves that are happening, the operational moves that are happening in this conflict are simply reflexes. It's like, oh, well, it's like, that's what I said, that it feels more like there are operational opportunities and a frustration that's motivating more so than any sort of guiding principle. It's like, hey, we have the opportunity to get Larajani. Would you like to do that? It's like, yeah, fuck, yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, but that didn't work with anyone else. So why is it the underlying premise that you're working on is that removing leaders will weaken or fragment the system? This hasn't worked so far because leadership survival isn't treated as paramount. As I told you, Khamenei himself said that no man is more important than the regime, not even the 12th Imam. I cannot explain to you what a big statement that is. This is not a system that is built on the primacy of leadership survival. It is one that is built with the concept of leadership martyrdom built in. Now, do I think that there are caveats? Do I think that's a strong, ossified kind of perspective? No, as I said, I think with Larijani and this round of killings, Larijani, Soleimani, Khatib, I think this is slightly different. I think this round of killings might empower the people more. I think this round of killings takes away the facade of the political and puts things into the hands of the IRGC a lot more. I also think it's super dangerous because suddenly you're going to have a bunch of people in these, whether they're puppets or not, the people who are going to be filling political positions are people you don't have any concept of how they operate. You don't have any concept really of how they move. The more of the senior leadership you take out and you bring in new people, you don't have the intelligence to know what the next move is going to be. I think it's strange. Iran operates, the regime operates in a way that martyrdom itself can perform important political work. Okay, so you can be creating the opposite effects. And as Ahmed said, Larijani attended a mass rally. He made statements. He visibly showed the people, hey, I'm embracing the possibility of martyrdom. I'm not afraid of dying. That's what he signaled to the people of Iran before he was killed. I care about the regime more than my own life. This is a conscious adoption of this logic by the leadership. Khamenei said, we're either martyred on this path, whose honor is eternal, or we achieve victory. Both are victories for us. These are things that Khamenei said. Okay, I'm trying to explain to you how cooked into the system this martyrdom is. Now, just because that is the case doesn't mean that there aren't second order effects that exist. As I said, from my perspective, Soleimani and Larijani dying really does embolden people who were willing to go out in the street before, because they're so operationally important in the oppression that people have previously experienced. But as I also said, the IRGC are calling the shot. It's not like, oh, we got rid of the bad guys. It's like, everyone's bad. I don't want everyone's bad. But yeah, you got to be really careful not to martyr people. And that's what the foreign minister was saying on the news. He's like, I don't know how many times you have to explain it to Trump. Like, this isn't how we work. You can't decapitate your way out of this. Now, prove me wrong, please. Do it, please. I hope this works. But I think that you'll find that the decapitation strategy, instead of being cumulatively like good, instead of, yeah, Larijani, you know those 30,000 people who were killed, K-Step? He's kind of the orchestrator of that. He's kind of like a guy, he was part of a Qudsi, like a very strategic, evil kind of thinker, but he's often seen as like, oh, he's the mediator, right? Like, you'll see a lot of people being like, he was a really articulate man, he was really good. But the thing is, I think if you were the chief architect of a massacre of people, 30,000 unarmed civilians in a matter of days, right? I'm just going with that stat because that's what we have to go with at the moment, Ahmed, and I'm more than happy to recalibrate if evidence comes out to the contrary. But what I would rather do always, there are a lot of things in the fog of war that are incorrect. And because I'm not using any of these things to justify military action, if I was saying there has to be intervention because 30,000 people died, I'm not saying that, right? I'm not justifying intervention. I'm not justifying any sort of action based on this statistic. So I would rather err on the side of caution and not deny that someone was brutally killed by their own government and then change my opinion to say, oh, that didn't happen, than to say it didn't happen and then have to correct myself and say, actually, this person did die. And I was the one denying it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just saying that even, let's say it was 100 people. Let's say it was 1,000 people, right? Okay, guys. That's a maximal one because I'm just trying to, it's the number that's in my fucking head. The point stands if it were 50 people. I think that everyone being like, this guy is the most pragmatic interlocutor who'll be able to negotiate a peace. I think you are disqualified from holding that role as the most sane, pragmatic, good faith person in the regime when you've done that. I don't think you get to be the good faith negotiator when you've done that. So if you have orchestrated the killing of any number of people protesting government behavior, I'm not going to be like, wow, we really lost our chance at peace there. Because to me, and I've been very clear about who I think your chance at peace is. I've been clear. I just want to be very clear about this again. Ever since What's-His-Face went down in the fucking helicopter. What's his name? I followed when Pezeshkian came in, I was like, this is a really good sign for Iran. This guy is so much more moderate than anyone else that is, like, you want a moderate person to fucking do business with? It should have been Pezeshkian. You had the guy right there. You've got him there still. The problem is he's losing Rouhani. Thank you. Yeah, when he went and Pezeshkian came in, I was like, well, this is so unexpected and crazy. But okay, that's good. Let's go with it. But the problem is, every day they kind of ignore Pezeshkian. The IRGC and everyone else turns on him. So you lose the opportunity to negotiate with that person. Okay, guys, I don't really care if they were armed and shooting the police. I don't care. I don't care. Here, listen. There's a fog of war. Let me just try and distill my point for you guys. Hi, Ali. I have my headache still. I'm sorry I haven't replied. Let me make my point clear. My point was only that if you orchestrate the massacre of your own people, you no longer are the pragmatic, sound, good faith negotiator that can bring peace about, in my opinion. That's the only kind of statement I was making. I'm sorry to use a figure when we have fog of war. Of course we don't know how many people died. Of course we don't. I don't know. I still don't even know what's happening in fucking half the conflicts in the world. I was just using the figure because I have a headache and it was the number that was in my head. Okay? What I'm saying is, if you are someone who is terrorizing your own people, I don't think you should be the person we're negotiating with about the future of your own people. If you're being honest about one of your goals being that this is all about the freedom of the Iranian people from the tyrannical regime. Okay, guys, I just have to say we're over an hour into the stream. If I'm saying anything to you that you find worthwhile, if you find my coverage worthwhile, and this is the sort of thing that you would take me out for a coffee to hear about, then maybe you could shoot me a coffee with a sub. Raisi is exactly who I meant.
Look at you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Why am I not updating? Hang on. Sometimes my shit stops updating and I don't know what happens. Why? Hang on. That's all right because I have stream elements and I will simply look that shit up so I know who to thank. Thank you, Wallach. Yeah, I have to do these things where I say, guys, if you would take me out for a cup of coffee because you're like, hey, Joe, I really want to know like what's going on, your take on what's going on with Iran and like what you think about things. If that would be enough for you to buy me a coffee, consider giving me a sub. Because if you don't sub to me, I don't live. Does anyone regular not have a sub? I don't even know. This is now the problem. The problem is I can't really do the whole, what do you call it? Why my headache? Spilling for subs because I don't have enough regular viewers. That it's like I get to the point where everyone who's regular here, I'm like, guys, sub to me if you like my coverage, and everyone who likes my coverage is like, we are, and I'm like, damn, I need more people. I need to find more people. Shilling, thank you. I need more people because everyone here is subbed, which I desperately appreciate. But I have to let you guys know that I can't live on 70 subs. Okay, so back to analysis though, because that's what we're all here for. Cal, I don't want to cover drama, guys. I really don't want any. I don't want any drama with any fucking streamer. I don't. I'm actually going to. So here's my plan, guys. When I feel better and my head isn't hurting anymore, I am going to vibe code my own GG site so that you can sub to me directly to my Stripe, okay? You'll get a membership on my website, so all of the money will come directly to me. And we won't be giving any money to Jeff Bezos. We won't be giving any money to YouTube. It'll all come to me directly, okay? The problem is, DJ, and I need you to know this, I would be so good at getting involved in drama. You guys must know this. You guys, like, there are some bitches out there I could destroy. You must know this. You must know the trouble I could cause if I chose to speak. But I'm so above that, you know? It's like, DJ, I'm going to do it and you can't stop me. But the thing is as well, is like, here's the thing. To destroy people, one, not virtuous at all. Bad moral training, bad for my character. And as someone ruled by Saturn, I can't afford that karma. It will come back for me, and I don't want it to. Okay, so that's one. Two, boring. I'm kind of above it. I'm kind of like, I'm too good for it. Because the thing is, like, yeah, there's drama, and you guys love it. You guys love that shit, right? I know you love it. I know you want the drama. It's just like, I don't care enough about anyone to have drama with anyone. And you guys come in here and there's people who fucking love Hassan. There's people who love Steven. And I hope to God there's no one in my audience who loves Asmongold. I would love to exist in a world where I can just exist and mention other people who are my colleagues and co-workers without you all tribing off and becoming fucking parasocial weirdos. Destiny, guys. You're all just immediately like, the second some people get named, it's like, fuck that loser. It's like, guess what? Some of us just want to just fucking do shit. I would like to talk about Iran. There's this amazing quote in the Princess Diaries when she first comes in and her hair is newly done, when she's just had the mum, this is exactly what I'm talking. Just like, don't bring it in here. Just don't. Because what you're doing right now is drama in my fucking chat. I don't want it. I'm not engaging in it. I don't want you to make me engage in it. Pisses me off. It makes me mad. Don't. Anyway. In the Princess Diaries, right after Anne Hathaway has her makeover, she has her hair in a hat. And she comes into English class and the girls are like, take the hat off, take the hat off, take the hat off. And she does, and her hair comes out and it's beautiful. And everyone's like, oh. And they all start being like, and her friend, Lily Moskowitz, says, bold hair? Voltaire. I would like to talk about Voltaire. And that's how I feel about everything. I would like to talk about Voltaire. I don't want to mention someone that I work with, right? No matter who they are, no matter what side of this weird parasocial map they fall under, these are people who do the same job as me and cover the streaming political world is incredibly tiny. Okay, so there are very few people that do the same kind of work as me. I would like to be able to mention people without automatically being sorted into a fucking army or camp or position. I just want to mention things. But anyway, Iran. Let me get my notes back up. Fucking losers. I would like to talk about, yeah. You have no idea. It's so funny to me as well that she took off her glasses to become hot. And whenever I'm feeling ugly, I'm like, you know what I need? Some fake glasses. If I put on some fake frames right now, I'd become 10 times more hot. Thanks, Ahmed. Thanks, guys. Even on my ugly headache stage, where I haven't been able to look smacks because I've got a headache. Okay. What else did I have to say? Oh, we need to talk about Kharg Island. I've been smashing my face with that hammer. You guys know it. I actually low-key... No. Apparently it's only... From the reading that I've done, it's not... It's not like... Okay, so in Muay Thai, for instance, you hit your calves on bamboo. You kick bamboo so that you make little mini fractures in your bone and kind of harden the bones up, which is the logic that I thought was what was happening with bone smashing on your face. But it turns out, no, the bone smashing in your face is to create a temporary inflammatory response. So you just get swollen for the short term. So I'm not really interested in that. If it were about let's say I was smashing my cheekbones and it actually caused them to like come back permanently thicker, I would love to consider it. in the name of research. But it's not a Claude headache. It's stopping me from my Claude work. It's stopping me from my important work with Claude. Guys, I'm not smashing my face because I know it already works. Botox. Okay, that's what we're doing to our face when we're doing things to our face. I won't hide it from you. Ever. Okay. Okay. Bone smashing? I'll stick to meth. Thanks. Okay. Okay. I probably would look like Zac Efron, but you know. So, Kharg Island. Would seizing it end the war? Would doing anything with Iran's Kharg Island end the war? So that Kharg Island is the terminal through which about 90% of oil exports flow. So the thinking is there's an argument which suggests, hey, if we seize that, the war ends. Surprise, surprise. I think that is maybe too simplistic. Yeah, from Iran, taking it from Iran. I think having that kind of economic reading of Kharg Island is bad if you overlook how Iran itself would interpret and respond to that move, right? First, it's not going to be easy to take Kharg Island. It's very defended. It's not just sitting there in the open with no one doing anything. And even if you seized it, you would have to continue to hold it. That would be an ongoing thing. You're in enemy territory. That is a very boots on the ground sort of situation, and that is a very lose a lot of people situation, because obviously being the terminal for 90% of oil exports, it's important strategically, and it is worth putting a lot of resources towards keeping. So Iranian forces, if they didn't already keep it through defense, would mount consistent, repeated attacks, basically turning it into this costly outpost rather than an asset. I think it's possible that they deliberately didn't blow up the oil infrastructure, not out of decency, but because they want to hold it hostage after seizing the island. Yeah, I just don't see the island. I mean, but this is the thing. It's not like America's been doing anything that strategically makes sense so far. So, like, maybe they will attempt this, but let me try and explain to you why attempting this is so stupid. Okay, so first of all, very defended, very hard to seize. Secondly, if seized, something Iran will put a lot of assets into taking back and will not stop. They're not going to at some point be like, well, we tried 3 times to get it back. I guess we'll just give up. This is something that would become like an extremely contested and costly asset. I don't even know if you could call it an asset at that point. It would just become a death field. And there's little reason to actually think that if they lost Kharg Island, it would end the war. Because that loss of territory would likely... You have to think, what I've been telling you since the beginning of my analysis, which I maintain is correct, is that for Iran, this war is existential, right? This is not a repeat of the war last year. This is about the survival of the regime. If you take an asset like Kharg Island, I think it will strengthen their resolve. This is a country that has taken a lot of blows without capitulating. And I don't understand why Kharg Island would be seen as something different, right? As I've said before as well, I think that a lot of the Iranian strategy, given that their objective is truly just to survive, it's a game of mercy, and it's about how much pain that they would be willing to take. I think they'd be willing to take a lot of pain, including the loss of Kharg Island. And until I'm shown definitive evidence of why this one site would be different, I think it's strange. Actually, Exit, I too thought the oil fields would burn forever, but it turns out if we put some jet planes over them and we blast some CO2, maybe that won't happen. So I've heard. Exactly. And you also can't stop, you can't stop the damage to the oil infrastructure. If you think that you're just going to perfectly, I don't think I think it's to do with taking the oil away from Iran more than keeping the assets for themselves. It's not a logical thing that you can hold, right? Like, it's too far away. It's too costly. This isn't like, oh, we're going to take Kharg Island and keep that oil for ourselves. Like, maybe if you had GCC, a country that was able to commit to wanting to take it for them, maybe, but I don't even see a GCC country willing to do that. So, the control of the Kharg would not actually neutralize the most important lever that Iran has as well, which is control of the strait. Even without direct control over key things like Kharg Island, Iran has these asymmetric tools, the strait, that it can pull and use to fuck over all of maritime traffic, all of energy, kind of global energy flows. So taking Kharg is not going to stop the problem of the strait. Taking Kharg is not going to be the thing that makes Iran give up. Taking Kharg is going to be extremely costly, if possible at all. I don't think so, because first of all, you hold them at gunpoint, hold the oil infrastructure at gunpoint. Why do they need, this is existential for the regime. They'll just give up the oil they'll just keep attacking, and they'll keep the strait closed. What, you're going to say open the strait and we'll give you back the island? Iran's going to say, no, the strait is staying closed, give us back the fucking island or we'll kill every person you land here. America and Israel don't have the upper hand when it comes to landing on Kharg Island, taking the oil infrastructure and threatening Iran. Iran still has the asymmetric levers of all maritime control in the area. And here's the fact of the matter, and the scariest thing of the matter is, I do not believe that Iran would passively accept that kind of move. I think it would cause... Thank you, Bad Horse! I really appreciate it. Thank you. Wow. I thank you. Thank you for buying me coffee for my analysis. I think Tehran would escalate horizontally, because that's why I told you this was such a big deal with the attacking of the oil infrastructure in the where's my note? Where's my note? The Bushehr province. The natural gas facility in the Bushehr province, because Iran had already made it incredibly clear. They said, basically, we have one bright red line. Don't attack our energy infrastructure. Once you start attacking our energy infrastructure, we will attack yours. I think that if there was an attack on Kharg Island, if there was an attempt to seize the Kharg, that they would escalate horizontally and begin attacking in a major way the energy infrastructure of the Gulf. I mean, Israel would be happy about that, but that would be terrible for everyone else. And that would mean that all oil prices go up exponentially. The conflict is inevitably expanded, right? And also the thing is, yes, Kharg is central, but it's not Iran's only option. Yeah, exactly, the ooh. Yeah, exactly. It's literally just what I was about to say. It's not their only option when it comes to oil. There are more limited export routes, and yeah, they're less efficient. Yes, they're more vulnerable, but they're sufficient. Taking the Kharg isn't going to cause economic paralysis for Iran. And there's a few things going on there as well that need to be acknowledged, right? As I said, Iran has lived under sanctions for many, many years. It will take a lot of economic pain, right? And so taking more economic pain, doing something, less efficient, they'll take that. That's fine. So my problem with the Kharg Island, like, let's seize Kharg Island, is like, it's not a silver bullet. Let's kill the Ayatollah. This is complicated. This is why it's so annoying to see I just have to say something out of interest. I just want to say something. This is unrelated to Iran stuff. No. I had a theory, but my theory was wrong. This thing that I'm saying is like a recurring misunderstanding of Iran as a system, which is that it's built to be resilient. It's built very strategically, and it's built to be tolerant of discomfort and confrontation, right? So yeah, okay. My concern is that this is going to be, as I said to you earlier today in my analysis, it's like, I'm not seeing strategy. I'm seeing operational opportunity that is taken because of frustration. And seizing the Kharg seems like one of those things where someone's going to be like, we have an opportunity to take the Kharg. Should we take it? And it's like, yeah, okay, let's go. And it's like, okay, you're just going to complicate things, actually. This is going to do nothing to resolve, and it's only going to complicate. But it may end up happening because there's an operational opportunity, and everything in this war seems to just be like, we have the opportunity to do it. Do you want to? And because there's no guiding principle, it's just about like seizing every opportunity. You know? So many US soldiers would die. So many. Like, so many. Exactly, the It is total whack-a-mole. And this is what I mean. Like, it weirdly is true when, like, Trump says, like, he's, like, not a war president. He's not good at war. And he doesn't like war. He doesn't like having to, like, sit down and think things out and have a strategy. Like, he's not good at that. What he is good at is acts of war. Big, showy, like, let's do this now because we have the opportunity. Let's kill this person. Let's do this person. No, I don't even want to know about it. Hang on. It's very concerning as well. We did exactly when they say we did it out of habit. It's like it's just a knee-jerk war. It's like, what do you want to do next? Well, what can we do? What else did I want to talk about? I think I've covered. Oh, I do think it's interesting, and this is just a point that I want to make. I don't have real analysis on this. I just found it interesting that a majority of the missiles that have been sent out by Iran towards the Gulf, like an overwhelming majority, have been fired at the UAE, and like 80% of the missiles. So I think there's like 2,000 Iranian missiles and drones that have gone at the UAE. Over 80% have been aimed at civilian infrastructure. So I'm fascinated. I want to know what it is that's happening there with the UAE. Is it because the UAE has the strongest relationship with Trump personally? Is it because people, when I think of like tourist destinations in the Middle East or the most Western Middle East country, I am thinking the UAE, right? Saudi is more religious, so not as many people are going to go to Saudi. Who the fuck is going to Bahrain? No one. Other than the UAE, it's Qatar. Most people aren't going to Oman. So no one's going to Kuwait or Iraq. Oh, did you guys also hear that Iraq is working with the autonomous Kurdish region to export some of their oil that direction, which is interesting. But the capitalist and ruthlessness is also in Saudi. But I think there are US military moved in hotels and stuff. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm thinking, is it okay, so a lot of stuff based in the UAE as well. But the civilian attacks, I feel like it's trying to damage the national identity of the UAE. Turkey, but Turkey is not necessarily... Turkey and Iran have a relationship where I think the regime is going to go out of their way to try and not attack Turkey. So I don't think it's to do with like how Western they are. Hassan calls the UAE the Israel of the Gulf. No, it's not. And can I explain why? For all of the complaints about Israel, of which there are many.
Look at you.
Oh my goodness! Don't be gifting on your birthday! Don't be gifting on your birthday! I should be gifting you. Everyone, say happy birthday to the sheriff again. Now. Right now. Happy birthday, ACAF. Thank you. I'm being serious about this. Thank you. Blue Room, you keep getting missed with the subs. So funny. Phil's birthday, man? Okay, you're good. That's right. It's his birthday. And he's subbing to me. And it's also his sublent. He's meant to be abstaining from subs. I didn't communicate this to him, but I felt it was communicated spiritually and I didn't have to say it. He was meant to be abstaining for at least the whole of March. But he's not doing well within the moral coin framework of Lent. Yeah, happy birthday, Sheriff. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly, Arash. So I'm like, and especially now as well with apparently Mujtaba, I've heard. Thank you, Matthew. There you go, Blue Room. He gotcha. Patron Saint Sheriff. It's Lent. Okay, the USA moved their soldiers from the UAE bases to hotels in Dubai. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Victorious. Guys. I heard, Arash, that Mujtaba really fucking, in ways that Ali Khamenei wasn't, that Mujtaba is really racist towards Arabs. I was listening to an interview that he did in the UAE, and it was bad. But where are my notes? Where are my notes, guys? Get you. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, Arash, that's the other I've talked about that quite a lot, which is like, while there are lots of different ethnicities within Iran, there's very strong Iranian nationalism that kind of rejects the fragmentation of the state. And people like Iran being Iran. They don't want it to break up and be balkanized. Nobody really supports that. What I was talking about in terms of Hassan's comment that the UAE is the Israel of the Gulf. I just find that to be fundamentally not true, because for all of the criticisms one has of Israel, okay, and I'm telling you this as someone who's lived in UAE, okay, the whole point of Israel as an enterprise is invoking this long history. We've been here for thousands and thousands of years. Look at our history here. Look at our history here. Look at this. Look at how connected we are to the land. Our souls belong here, blah, blah, blah. You will never live in a more soulless place than the UAE. Like, it is spiritually absent. It is an empty, like, I lived in Abu Dhabi, and one thing I refuse to do. Sheriff! Who's going to be the lucky person to reach the sub goal? Come on, we need one more sub to
Who's
get
going
to
to
the
be the
sub
lucky
goal.
person to reach the sub goal?
We need one more sub. Stop now though. It's your birthday. You must stop. When I lived in the UAE, one thing that I fucking hated, proof of concept. Yay! We did it. Turbokin! We overdid it. Thank you, Folliston. Thank you, McSecular. We did it, guys. We really did it. Yeah, one thing I would never do is, a lot of the time we would like trip into Dubai for shopping. What do you want to do in the fucking UAE? That's really all you can do. I found ways to do other things, but it comes with a lot of connections, right? But we would go to Dubai to shop. My friends would be like, okay, we're staying the night in Dubai. No, not this girl. I will not stay in that city. I will not stay in that soulless hellhole. I will not. Yeah, the new goal, I did try to change that to say Claude Pro, which I tried to change this goal to say Claude Pro $350. It does not want to fuck with me. I don't know. When I get my own website, everything will be different. Everything will be different. Dubai, it's like, okay, you know that city that exists near Disneyland, and it's called something like Celebration City? Or like there's a town that they made to be something. Literally, the UAE, like there is culture there, the Bedouin culture, but not in any of the Emirate cities. Like not in Abu Dhabi, not in Dubai. Like there's no culture there. It's very spooky. You'll go to a building that should feel cultural, and you'll be like, wow. No, Oman is beautiful. Oman is different. Oman, no. Muscat, جميلة جدا. Muscat في ديتك Oman. Okay? I am not talking about Oman. Choo-choo. There are definitely Bedouin people in the UAE. I love Oman. Listen, so I spent half my time in the Middle East and Oman. Then we moved to the UAE because we went to Sheikh Zayed. Yeah, I love that. That's it. That's why I know of that city, Ali, because of that true crime story. I lived half my time in Muscat, and I studied at Nizwa University, and then I moved to Abu Dhabi to study at Sheikh Zayed University. When I tell you, my whole first week in Abu Dhabi, I cried because I hated it. And I was like, I want to go back to Muscat. I don't like it here. I don't like this city. I don't like it. I love how all of the girls watch true crime. When I was trying to explain to my mum like what I wanted my YouTube video content to be like, I'm like, I want it to be about politics, but I want it to feel like it's about true crime. I want it to be like the true crime of politics. It's such the slave shit is so overwhelmingly bad. It's the men, like the Pakistani men who used to build stuff. It's like Pakistani men and Filipino women. My friend Fakhra had a nanny, mind you, she was 17, had a nanny named Lucy who just did everything for her. She would get, like, we'd be in the car and she would be like, Lucy, get out of the car. Lucy would like stand outside of the car and be like, oh my God. And then Lucy would like talk to someone because a lot of the tents are out. So she'd start talking to someone and Fakhra would like call and be like, stop talking to her. Or like we'd go and buy Krispy Kremes and like we'd go and sit down to eat and Lucy would put the bag on the ground. She'd be like, are you putting, that's disgust. Like she'd be yelling at her and I'd be laughing because I'd be so uncomfortable. But then I'd talk to Lucy and like I'd be like, I remember I was there for New Year's. At this time, none of anything had happened yet, just to be clear. No, when I say what I'm about to say, you'll understand why I'm clarifying that nothing had happened yet. Kanye West was performing in Abu Dhabi, and I was like, Fakhra, like, do you want to go and see Kanye? And she was with Lucy, and she was like, because the thing is, women aren't allowed to go anywhere without an escort. So part of the reason that the older women have nannies is because if they're alone for like even a second, like a girl was alone while I was there for like literally 10 minutes and her uncle lost his job. Real fucked up. But anyway, I'm like, do you want to go to Kanye? And she's like, oh. She looks at Lucy and she's like, Lucy and I have been to so many concerts this year. And Lucy's like, I'm like, I don't understand the dynamic. And then she's shopping. She's throwing clothes on Lucy. She's like just throwing clothes on Lucy. And Lucy comes up to the counter and dumps them all on the counter. And then Fakhra's like, okay, Lucy, get whatever you want. And Lucy like runs around the store and she grabs all these things and Fakhra buys them for her. It's very confusing, the dynamics, because it's like, it's very confusing because obviously Lucy has been Fakhra's nanny since she was little. So there's a real attachment there and there's a real love there, but she's still her fucking slave. You know what I mean? And they're spending a lot of time like gish-gabbing together and laughing and like she's buying things for her and taking her places, but she's still her slave. And like this was I was like 18. It was very odd. With the men, it was like clearer because it would be like 15 Pakistani men packed into a tiny little room where, you know, they couldn't, like it was very clear human rights abuses there. With the women, it was a little bit more confusing. It's the same way with like when I was talking to the girls and I was like, don't you wish that you could drive? Like, don't you wish that you could drive? And she'd be like, why would I want to drive? I have a driver? And she's like, damn, how do you argue? How do you argue with this with like a 17-year-old? She's like, I do work. When I'm being driven, I'm working. And I'm like, wealth really distorts everything. Very stressful. Anyway, my point is the whole mythology of Israel is its deep soul, culture, and history. And the opposite is true of the UAE. It completely markets itself on being a modern utopia with no real history. Peter Thiel! Thank God you're here! How has your Antichrist lecture series been going? I know the Vatican were a little upset with you, but Also, you need to talk to your buddy Mark Andreessen about these no introspection comments. You know, we need to have a discussion about that. Thank you for popping by and giving me my teal bucks. It's really important to me, your continued support. Guys, okay. My coffee's actually helped my headache a little bit. What was Hassan's comparison? I think I don't know, because I don't watch enough Hassan content. Not because I dislike him. Drama people, not for any reason. Other than I only have so many hours in a day and I have to be preparing for this stream. So you know what I'm doing when I'm not here? I'm preparing for this. And you want to know the worst way to prepare for a stream? So listen to other streamers. TLDR. Oh, that's so clever, Fox. His head is an egg and he would crack. Okay. No, whoever brought up that Hassan says that, can you explain what he meant by the Israel, the UAE is the Israel of the Gulf? Guys, I really want to make either the most definitive diss video on Mark Andreessen that ever existed, but bye Tig, sleep tight. I'm worried because despite him claiming he doesn't do any introspection, one look at the fact that I'm blocked by him already on Twitter, but pair that with the fact that if you look at at his Twitter, he may not do any introspection, but he sure as shit ruminates. And I don't know if I want to be on the receiving end of a billionaire's ruminations who owns most of Web3. So I kind of want to do that. Then I thought I could do like the philosophical, because now that Habermas is dead and he has a relationship with Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, for those of you who don't know. Originally, he was supervising his PhD, but they had a falling out. Mark Andreessen has me blocked, yes. P. Marker has me blocked on Twitter. That is Teal. And I'm still nervous about Teal coming after me because he's got a long memory. But, so I was either going to do like the intellectual background of these people or Mark Andreessen hit piece. I really want to do that. You're proud of me for being blocked by Mark Andreessen? I'm proud too. It's a big achievement for me. Okay. Let alone, oh wait, where? Hang on, I saw something about the RSF. Oh, UAE is doing genocide too? Does he mean through slavery or does he mean through their support of the RSF? The Sudan situation is really complicated. I don't know if you can immediately say that Hemeti and the RSF are the bad guys, because everyone in the Sudan situation is the bad guy, which is what makes it so complicated. Here's the thing I've said, and I've said it to Peter Thiel, which is why he shows up in the chat, and I'll put it out here to Mark Andreessen too. Instead of coming after me to try and destroy me, please always remember, I'm willing to be bought. You can buy my silence. In fact, you can buy my endorsement. Okay? So before you start scheming about how you're going to ruin my life and how complicated that would be, because let me tell you, I have nothing. Okay? So suing me into oblivion, okay, I'll just declare bankruptcy and I'll start again. Okay? Because I have nothing. So you're going to have to continue to destroy my life for a long time. Which is like, do you really want to give me that much attention? Whereas, give me a pretty penny, and a pretty penny for me is pocket change for you. Give me a pretty penny, And I'll be like, guys, Mark Andreessen was a genius when he said that the internet is eating everything. And every single startup that Andreessen Horowitz has ever invested in is revolutionizing the internet. And these geniuses have changed the way the world operates. Tiggs, I'm just saying, there are easier things to do than kill me. I've seen enough too. Why do you think I make the criticisms I do? Okay, I'll say, listen, there's two things that can happen. One, you can buy me out, and I have this guy Tiggs that you can kill. That's true, K-Step. No, the insane egghead didn't threaten, but I want to do the definitive hit piece on him, right? But he already has me blocked on Twitter, so I've already clearly upset him. So I'm worried that if I do this piece that will embarrass him into the ground, it would truly ruin his life, because he may not introspect, but he does ruminate. I see it in his tweets. Things get to him. So I know that if I did this, it would ruin his life. It would deeply upset him. And I'm worried that if I then did that he would come after me. No shame, because money talks, but I won't. How did you make that pretty like that? How did you make that pretty like that? They're such babies. Seriously. Okay, guys, there's more. We talked about Syria being asked to go in. We talked about the power plants. We talked about Kharg Island. We talked about the ethnic cleansing of the south of Lebanon. Oh, it's sick. I love it. It's beautiful. We talked about the bombing of Beirut and why that's such a huge escalation. We talked about Larijani, Soleimani, and we didn't really talk about Khatib, but just know the only point of really talking about Khatib is that they're doing this political assassination thing on completely unprecedented levels. Do you have any thoughts on countries like the UAE being so safe because of how tough they are on crime? Yes. I did find this. I left my credit card in the back of a cab and I got it back. Like, there's definitely... Here's what I'll say about the UAE. The tough on crime thing. They're tough on certain crimes, right? And that doesn't make a place safe. So, for instance, do I feel like I could lose my shit and it would always come back to me? No one would steal from me? Yeah, I did feel that in the UAE. Did I feel that at times the religious conservatism also made me feel safe? Because for Emirati men, and this is the big distinction, for Emirati men, it was bad religiously to okay, this is the okay. So I shook a boy's hand at university and he cried because touching me was such a big bad thing to do, because he felt that he had damaged me in some way, right? It definitely was authoritarian in this case, Ali. So I think I may have told you guys some of this story before. Story time. Sorry, no political analysis for a second. I got an itchy nose. So, have I guys told you about the guy from the Dubai bank? So, I have been, it is kind of true crime. Okay. I have actually been stalked multiple times in my life. And when I say stalked, I mean really stalked. But it was years ago. Okay, well, here we go again. So I was shopping in Abu Dhabi. I was in Prada. So I was window shopping, okay? Because I don't have money to be shopping in Prada. I was looking with my friends. And this man came up and he was like, oh, you're so tall. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm somewhere in between 5'9", 5'10". I'm tall, okay? And I was, one thing, I have told you this, is that when it came to living in the Middle East, I flourished in terms of my Arabic language skills because I loved talking to people and I took every opportunity I could to talk. So I was like talking to this man in Arabic. I was so excited to practice my conversation. And then he told me like, oh, I'm the head of the bank here. I was like, I'm here with school, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, I'm the head of the bank. If you would like a tour, we can organize a tour. And this had worked great for me in Oman because my taxi driver ended up being like a tour guide for my whole class. He took us to all of these places. So for me, I was like, amazing. Like, and I had to, guys, I was obsessed with my Arabic teacher. Like all I wanted was her approval. All I wanted was for this woman to love me. And I would do anything to impress this woman. I just thought she was the bee's knees. And I thought, I'm going to get this tour of the Dubai Bank for everyone. And my teacher's going to be so impressed and she's going to love me. So I gave him my number. I was 18, guys. I was 18. I was so sheltered. I gave him my number and I told him, obviously, oh, I'm studying at Sheikh Zayed University because I'm practicing my language. Okay. I was the stalker of I truly was. Elysium. No, I don't want to expose myself here. My teacher had a son, and there was a period where I was like, I'm going to marry this woman's son. I want to be this woman's daughter. I will marry this woman's son. Anyway, I wonder what he's up to. Anyway, so I gave this man my number. He knew that where we were studying. He knew everything. And then I'm like, okay, bye. Like, we'll be in contact. And then I'm walking around Prada. And he's like, I'm looking at a bag. And he's like, do you want it? I'm like, oh my God, you have to be really careful in the Middle East. Because if you say you like anything, they're like, here, have it. Like, you got to be really careful. So I'm like, no, thank you. That's so generous. But like, no, I don't tour. I was like, no. I thank you so much. That's so generous. I don't want the bag. And then he was like, okay, so what do you want? And I was like, what? He's like, what do you want in the store? You can have anything you want. And I was like, oh, no. That's so generous. Thank you so much. I don't want anything. That's lovely of you to offer, but no, I don't want anything. And he's like, yeah, exactly, Ahmed. He says like, what do you want then? I'll buy you anything. Do you want a Porsche? You can have a Porsche. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you can have a Porsche. And tonight we'll dine together and you'll be my girlfriend. And I was like, thank you so much for the offer. I don't want that. This guy was old. This guy was like, I would say somewhere between 45, 55. Okay. And my friends are standing behind me like, get the Porsche. But I'm like, no. I'm like, I want nothing, right? I'm like, no, thank you, no. This man, for a month, 2 months, would not leave me alone. I'm talking non-stop calls, like non-stop calls. And when I blocked his number, he would call me on other numbers. It was all day, every day. Like I was having a break. Like I was on the edge of my fucking seat, right? Because like I was so stressed. He would turn up at the uni and wait outside of the uni for me. And then he followed us home. So he knew where I lived. And he was sending gifts to the house that I would like, I'm talking like diamonds. I'm talking like gifts. And I was obviously rejecting them all. But it was stressing me the fuck out. And then he started to stress. Then he started to threaten that I wouldn't be able to leave the country. Okay, so when I say like it's safe because there's such like a high price on crime, it's like not if you're wealthy, there's not. If you're wealthy, crime's totally fine. And he was like, you're not going to be able to leave the country. I won't let you leave the country. And I was like crying all the time. And then one time we were on the bus and he's calling, and my friend, she's like, this won't happen. She picks up the phone and she like goes to my teacher and she's like, this is what's happening. Like he won't stop calling. And my teacher's on the phone and she's like, head of the bank, you are scum of the bank, you are scum of Islam. But luckily, I happened to be friends with a sheikh. And so that's how I got out of that situation. Mind you, for years I was like, this sheikh is such a good guy. He's such a good guy. Also, this tells you how naive I am again. That sheikh wanted to take me hunting in Pakistan, eagle hunting, because he had falcons. And he wanted to take me falcon hunting in Pakistan. I wanted to go. My teacher was like, absolutely not. For years, because he got me out of this situation with the head of the bank, was like, this sheikh was so nice. He's so good. He's so great. He's so amazing. Turns out he sexually assaulted a British woman. So, do I think the UAE is good because it's low crime? It's low crime if you don't want things stolen from you. That's it. I think I might have been stuck, Ahmed. I think he could have been. So I went to this thing with the Australian ambassador, and the Australian ambassador took me to the Australia Day celebration where I met the sheikh, and then he invited me to dinner at his majlis. And I met the head of UNESCO there, which was very cool. And I met the guy who had the first electric car, which was very cool. And I got to play with a falcon, which was very cool. And then I got invited to go to a camel beauty contest with the sheikh, which I also did. And that was very cool. And I ended up on TV. But, yeah. He was great to me. A camel beauty contest. And I got to commentate the family category. Chef, I'm saying sheikh. 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 Anyway. I don't know. I just remember being on TV and they were asking my opinion for things. And then at one time I couldn't remember the Arabic word for like buggy. And I was like, buggy. And they were like, her Arabic is not great. And I was like, oh my God. No, guys. Sheikh. They actually love Shake Shack in the UAE. Sheikh. KH is kh. You know that thing they love? What do they love in the UAE? Starbucks, Shake Shack, Cinnabon. Well, at least they did when I was there. Okay. I think we've talked about most of what I wanted to talk to you about. Ghalibaf is someone we should be keeping our eye on. Because I think now that Khamenei and Larijani are gone, the speaker of the parliament is probably the most powerful person. So if I would continue with a decapitation strategy, I'd go for Ghalibaf next. I know, but I'm just Larijani. I keep saying it wrong, and now I'm giving up because it seems like it should be a simple one. And you know what? I don't need to learn how to say it because he's dead now. Thank you so much for subbing. Larijani, Soleimani, and different Soleimani to the original Soleimani. This Soleimani as in the head of the Basij, and Khatib, the intelligence guy. They're the ones who've been taken out in the last 24 hours. But I haven't kept an eye on things because Israel said it's a big day and they don't even need permission anymore to kill people. I think when it comes to Larijani being killed and why Israel would target him, there are a couple of explanations. The obvious one that you're going to see floating around is that Israel's trying to kill Trump's off-ramps, right? So for all of the criticisms, Larijani, as I said, was kind of the connector in terms of politics and the IRGC. So he's a consensus builder. And he supported Pezeshkian. He supported lowering the kind of heat on the GCC states. I think that he was a real off-ramp for the US. So that is one. But Larijani was talking to Trump officials in December. Now, I don't think negotiation was going to happen anytime soon. But as I said before, Ahmed, every single conflict, even if the conflict ends with definitive military action, every single conflict ends with negotiation. Someone has to be the negotiator. And Larijani was the obvious negotiator. He was I don't like him as a negotiator. I don't think he's a good guy. I don't think that Iran necessarily wants to negotiate with the US. But I'm just saying, if there was going to be some sort of negotiation, if the US was going to push for an off-ramp, that would be the guy they'd be pushing to talk to. Well, that's one explanation, exit, that Israel's trying to get rid of the off-ramps for Trump. The second is that the stupid idea to go back to regime decapitation. Okay, we can't get the Strait open. There's no international coalition willing to support us to help us get the Strait open. But the Strait has to be. Yay! For the sheriff getting his brunch paid for on his birthday. Yes! And good karma for this new moon, entering a whole new cycle. How good to have a birthday at the end of eclipse season. Just like a real clean slate. So they could be trying to go back to regime decapitation in the hopes that maybe that will somehow fucking fix the Strait. This new idea didn't work. Let's go back to our original idea. Let's just try a few more assassinations. That'll all take, chat, right? Like just a few more. And as I said, number 3, it could be the strategy of we have the opportunity to do this. Do you want to do it? And it's just like a situation where the opportunity presented itself, so they did it. So it's not that there was any real strategy there. It was an opportunity both thing. But yeah, I really don't see the I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see this Yeah, exactly, Matthew. Like, it doesn't even after you drop that, even after Hiroshima and Nagasaki, there was a fucking negotiation, right? Like, that always happens. You always, and the more that Trump is like, well, we don't know who we're talking to, it's like you're really getting rid of. And lucky, this is my point though, right? It's like that's why Israel is pushing for a total failed state in Iran, because they're never going to get the opportunity to go this hard again. So they're not going to get the opportunity to go back in 2 to 5 years. So they need to go as hard as possible now. But yeah, the problem is, I don't think, even though as I've said, I'm not willing to let the intelligence or analysis ossify around like, oh, you're creating more hardliners. Because I think since they killed Khamenei, the hardliners have been in charge, whether visibly or behind the scenes, right? When Khamenei was gone, I think the IRGC were pulling all of the strings. Like, even if it didn't look that way on the surface, that's what I believe is happening, because they need continuity, right? So the hardliners are already in charge. But I do think the more this happens, even the suggestion of strategic patience is taken off the table, which is around historic strategy, like strategic patience. That's gone now. Israel's described objective is to stop the chief sponsor of state terrorism in the region and free the Iranian people. That's their stated objective. Now, their obvious objective, based on their movements, is state collapse. They want regional dominance, not regional deterrence. They don't want to make this costly for Iran so that they don't attack Israel, because they didn't attack Israel. They didn't attack first, right? They want regional dominance. They want other states to not even be a player in the region. Exactly, Ahmed. Do I think World War III could arise out of this, James? It depends what you classify as a world war. If this moved to the European theater and to the Indo-Pacific theater, I mean, well, that's why I'm saying, like, what do you classify as a world war, Hungry Ahmed? Because it doesn't actually have to be Iran having an ally. So obviously, as I've said before, Russia isn't an Iranian ally. They're strategic partners. China isn't an Iranian ally. They're strategic partners. These aren't allies. There's no defense obligation. But if we classify it as conflicts breaking out in other theaters, it's very possible, right? Because you already have the Russia-Ukraine conflict in the European theater. And if Turkey were to be dragged in, if Azerbaijan were to be dragged in to this conflict that is involving Europe, right? That's creating real implications for NATO, etc. As the global energy problem becomes I know, if Taiwan kicks off, I would count that as a world war. If something kicks off with Taiwan. I don't think China wants to make a move right now, so I don't think it will. But this opportunity factor, if America keeps pulling a lot of the defense materials from the Indo-Pacific theater, if the relationship with allies in the Indo-Pacific continues to deteriorate, China may be like, well, the opportunity is obviously now. I don't think they will. I genuinely don't think they will, though. No, I haven't, Wallach. Should I watch them? Will I like them? Maybe next stream, I'll tell you where I think China's at. We'll do a China-focused stream. And I'll tell you what's happening in that theater that makes me think. Now, I was really worried about South Korea having their defenses pulled. I was worried about both Japan and Australia denying to send help for the Strait. I'm like, damn, how's this gonna, is this gonna end AUKUS? Well, they wouldn't be directly engaging with the US. They'd be taking the opportunity of the US being tied up somewhere else to go after Taiwan. But I don't even think Taiwan is necessarily what they're interested in at the moment. The thing that makes me nervous about that is that Elbridge Colby, who would be so pissed about all of this Iran stuff, by the way. I think Tulsi Gabbard, basically all of the realists in cabinet, I don't know, in the administration. So Elbridge Colby, Tulsi Gabbard, JD Vance, they're all fucking pissed about Iran. I can feel it in my bones. They're not happy. AUKUS is the submarine deal between Australia, the UK, and the United States. We fucked off the French, who were giving us subs in order to get secondhand US nuclear subs that would be like captained by United States people, and it's just a bad deal for us. I don't know why we ever did it. It's the stupidest thing ever. JD Vance is pissed. I don't think he wants to be involved in Iran. That's my genuine opinion. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. This doesn't align with... Well, I mean, JD Vance loving a war doesn't mean... The reason loving the Iraq war and loving this war are different is because this war affects him personally in terms of his career longevity. This isn't what he had planned for how his career would play out. This isn't something that he controls, and yet it reflects on him as vice president. So he is marred with this war. JD Vance is no longer the person they want for the next president. It's going to be Marco Rubio. JD Vance will try and run, but he's not going to have the backing of this administration. Marco Rubio will. Marco doesn't want this war either because he wants the focus to be on Cuba. If they put boots on the ground here, that's the end of boots on the ground in Cuba, which is where he wants boots on the ground. This is not what JD Vance wants. It's not what Tulsi Gabbard wants. It's not what Elbridge Colby wants. They want to be fighting China. Why Marco? Because Clavicula said JD Vance is ugly. Who's they? Exactly. I'm lucky. I mean, it's so funny because people talk about the deep state, right? And you sound crazy if you talk about the deep state. No, here's the thing. There are political kingmakers. There are shadow men. And they are people who have careers in politics that aren't politicians. They're lobbyists. They're chiefs of staff. They are... Hello, Linda. You're in Bahrain? Please stay safe. Listen, it'll be Marco if Marco starts to get really hot. Watch him over the next 6 months. If he gets on Reddit and he starts like cutting, which we all need to do, by the way. God, I keep telling myself I need to get serious, go to the gym, eat better. But I can't because Easter's right there. And I know I'm going to eat like shit on Easter. So I just feel like I should just wait until after Easter. But what was I going to say? There are people who work in politics as a career. Political consultants, lobbyists, chiefs of staff, press secretaries, the people who work for political parties but don't work as politicians. So the employees of the GOP, right? I would call these shadow men, right? And they make a lot of decisions and they're combined with people who run PACs, the money, they're having conversations with those people. So like, for instance, you know, when everyone was on having their yacht party for New Year's and they were all out on the yachts, like that was right after Clavicula or it may not have been New Year's, but there was some reason that they were all on yachts in the bay. And it was right after Clavicular had said that that Gavin Newsom mogs JD Vance. Now, for the tech people, they have two choices. They can turn and back Marco, or they can swing back to being Democrats, right? Because the tech people were historically Democrats, especially under people like Al Gore. Al Gore was a big tech person. So they don't have a necessary allegiance to a political party. It's more about who can get them what they want. So Gavin Newsom is the kind of Democrat who could give the tech people what they want, right? He's not like we're not talking about Elizabeth Warren here. We're talking about Gavin Newsom. So the smartest things for the tech bros to do might be just to swing back to being Democrats. And with the Ezra Klein kind of abundance movement, Gavin Newsom, this is the easy thing for them to do. But if they're going to stay Republican, if they feel that they're too entrenched now and they fucking hate the Democrats and their PC woke bullshit, blah, 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 they'll go Rubio. Because JD Vance is ugly. That's a nice dream, Elysium, but Brian Armstrong puts in so much money. So much money. I think they'll swing Dem if it's Newsom too. Which means, unfortunately, everyone who's like, don't criticize a Democrat, we have to. Not because of leftist infighting, because your very job is to keep your politicians to account. I don't want a crypto supporting president. I don't care if he's Democrat or Republican. I don't want it. And obviously that's my country and I should have a total say. Listen, you guys decided to be the leaders of the free world and make every other Western country a vassal state. So I get to have an opinion on your leader. I didn't do that. I didn't choose for my life to be dictated by what your president decides. That will be perceived as important for an actual pivot to China. They'll get Fed subsidies. Oh. China. There is no good use for crypto. It's for criminals. There is no good use for crypto whatsoever. There are good uses for AI. I'm willing to be pro-AI. I'm willing to be pro-AI. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate it. But I won't be pro-crypto. You won't catch me there. Catch me outside. The only good crypto is Moral Coin. And the only place you can get Moral Coin is right here, ladies and gentlemen, by subscribing to me. The world's first crypto morality. Morality on chain. Wow. If crypto pays me to say they're good, well, I bank with Ondo and I only invest in XRP because it's going to the moon. You guys will know. You guys will know when I've been bought. It'll be obvious. I'll become extremely hot. I'll get MAGA faced. BTC is not like gold. Nice try. Nice try. Nice try. I love Gamba. No, guys, I don't. Let me just check the situation because we should be monitoring it. Hey, I had to pick one. I went with the first one I could think of that wasn't Tether. Because I'm not that sick, okay? So I went with Ripple. Why does my nose get so itchy? It's right at the front. And it gets itchy, but only when I stream. Is it the light? Could it possibly be the light? But why would the light make my nose itchy? No, I don't. Who's Max Kaiser? Oh, he's a Bitcoin guy. He's often on Al Jazeera. I'll have to look into him. Oh, but he said fiat is trash. Oh, I'll have a look. Guys, I'm allergic to monitoring the situation. I'll have, I'll, I'll have a look into him. Okay. So Israel struck Iran's South Pass field. I think that's what someone told me before and I didn't notice. That is very bad. Because that's the second attack on energy. And remember I told you that for Iran, they made it very clear that their energy infrastructure was a bright red line and that they would retaliate by attacking GCC countries' energy infrastructure. This is probably going to be... Okay, guys. Prediction! Yeah, they're going to. This is the next cycle of escalation. We have just entered the next cycle of escalation. It's going beyond closing the strait. Oh, stay safe, Linda. What's happening there with the Shia uprising? Is your government still standing? It's going beyond this strait. Oil and gas fields are going to start to get fucked in a major way, which is bad for all of us, by the way. Really, 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 really bad for all of us. And so bad for climate change, but I can't even think about that right now. I can't even think about it. I don't know what I'm going to do. I really, 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 really can't think about that. It's going to make me fucking lose my mind. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to do. War is so bad. War is so bad for the climate. I don't know what to do about it. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. I really, really can't. I really can't think about it. You think I'm lying? Exit? It's just so it's late here. Yeah, this is bad, guys. If you were wondering, if things were good or bad, I would like to say bad, but I would like us all to be in good spirits, because what's the point in being in bad spirits? Okay, the first bridge, Qaqiya Bridge in South Lebanon, has been bombed. So they're really going through with that. This is a humanitarian crisis for literally anyone who didn't leave. I clean this really regularly, actually, because I have OCD. I don't know what it is. I think I'm allergic to this city. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so they're really doing it. So they're just ethnically cleansing and occupying the south of Lebanon. That's crazy. Anyone who was not able to get out or who chose to stay is fucked, by the way. You can't just bomb bridges. Apparently, this is the thing. What is the point? This is the one problem I have with monitoring the situation for you guys. There's no longer a heuristic, right? What can I say? That's illegal. That's very bad. That's a war crime. That is a crime against humanity. Lots of people are dead. This will cause lots of people to die. Like, nothing matters anymore. There's nothing. It's like I say it, but because there are no consequences attached to the diagnosis, it's kind of like, what's the point of even saying it? Exactly. How are you going to enforce that war crime? You and what army, bitch? It's like, this is the true world of might equals right. Why should norms be adhered to? Exactly. Like, we... The worst thing about might equals right is, what is the common understanding of might? When you think of a jock in high school, what do you know about that jock? Right? They're super strong, but they're fucking stupid. This is why we don't like might equals right. Yeah, City of Tyre. The stupidest people are in charge of the world. And people in Cuba are fucking suffering so bad right now because there are people who require electricity to be alive. People on dialysis, like, electricity is required for people to stay alive. When you take away electricity, you kill people. Thank you. I turned the lights down because I have a headache. But maybe if I look good, I'll just keep the lights down. Maybe that's a secret to looking good, just being poorly lit. Dude, exactly. Oh my god, everything's bad. Guys, it's fine. Because I'm learning how to use Claude. No, nothing is leading to flourishing. Nothing is leading to flourishing at all. We're doing the opposite of flourishing. This is so bad. Senator Loomis, you know who should say a big fuck you to? Senator Loomis. Senator Loomis sucks. An actual plan, you ask too much, Morgan. Why plan when you can just do things? What does Elon say? Do things, break fast things? Do things fast and break shit? Flourish isn't. That's what's happening right now. Fuck Senator Loomis. Fuck you. Iran has ordered the evacuation of all petrochemical plants in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar. I have bad feelings. Yes, Bane, we're doing that because of bright red line. It's a bright red line for Iran. Move fast and break things. I wish that wasn't the current foreign policy of the global superpower. I really wish it wasn't. Mark, my boyfriend, Mark Andreessen, says that. He would. He would say that. You know what would help him not say that? A little bit of introspection. Oh my god, my head hurts so bad. But who cares if you have a headache? That's how you end up in jail. And it's so like, okay, 912 people have died in Israel since March 2nd. 912 people have died at the hands of Israel in Lebanon since March 2nd. 912. Because of the war with Iran. 912 people have died in Lebanon. 1 in 5 people in Lebanon have been displaced. And that's not even like kind of news. You know, it's not even kind of news because there's so much bad shit going on that we don't, and now we're just like, yeah, people die. It's war. I swear to God, it wasn't like this 3 years ago. I swear to God, we didn't treat things like this 3 years ago. Like, I understand that there becomes, like, I understand when war becomes normal, right? Like, this is terrible. And it's a Susan Sontag point as well, right? But, like, you know, it's one thing if over time people care less about Ukraine. It's one thing if people over time care less about Gaza, right? It becomes normal. It becomes a new normal. People just, they get exposed and they don't care anymore. But since March 2nd, 912 people died. Nobody cares. In Lebanon, nobody cares. And it's like, come on. What is happening? I'm in hell. Someone asked me semi-recently if I believed in hell, and I said yes. And I didn't expand. And I think they think that I meant in the Christian metaphysics sense, which I don't. And in many ways, the Christian metaphysics sense would be kinder, because in Christian metaphysics, the deserving go to hell. The hell that I believe in is a hell experienced by the undeserving, which is words. Oh, it's 100% the plan, Iguana. They're blowing up the fucking bridges. They've told everyone to evacuate. They're 100% taking everything from the south of the Litani River. Man, I'm getting bummed. I'm getting bummed. I should write that down. Yeah, Morgan, I spent a lot of time. I'm very careful with my assessment of Israel. But there comes a point where, like, there's enough facts, there's enough people telling you exactly, like, you got to trust people when they tell you what they're doing and who they are. And no, you shouldn't trust Bibi. The problem is when you realize that Bibi's been in power for so long that he's brainwashed a large segment of Israeli society. Like, we're not talking about a small few. It's like, when did it, okay, hey, we're going to do this unprecedented act of war that it will inevitably cause environmental catastrophe, may completely threaten global energy security, will likely cause regional escalation. But we don't have an objective for doing it. We don't really have a plan. We're just going to do what? What world are we in? What world are we in? I can't remember eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is so far away from me right now. Chance of nukes being used are high, Larson, unfortunately. But some very intelligent people in this chat have made the point to me, which I think is true. It's more likely to be a conventional weapon dropped on a nuclear facility. So that it has a nuclear outcome without it being a nuclear weapon. I know, I want to be happy, but I'm not happy today. Something big needs to happen. Why are the magpies up? It's 4 a.m. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Conversation got boring. Guys, what are we gonna do? Oh my god. Normally, people are like mad at me because I do a lot of descriptive analysis and I don't tell people what I think should happen, right? I'm like, this is the way things are, because I'm always the kind of person who's like, we need a real clarity about the situation so that we can work out what to do. But today, I kind of am feeling the way that people who dislike me feel, because I'm kind of like desperate for some kind of solution. And I'm like, okay, great. You've told me what's going on, but what are we going to do about it? Have I been lifting? Do you mean me in the empty bar? Me in the empty bar. The problem is, I lift. I go to the gym, I lift. everyone immediately gets a crush on me. How am I meant to work out in that environment? How am I meant to work out when everyone around me is in love with me because I lift so heavy? They watch me. They look at me. They go, it's not going to happen. I lift. This is, you guys say, I hear there's this place called Curves. No, the women are in love with me too. It has nothing to do with my appearance, dogs, and everything to do with, they watch me lift that empty bar and they're like, damn, did not expect her to pull off a lift like that. And I do. And, you know, part of me is like, damn, I wish people didn't look at me at the gym. But to be honest, I need people to look at me because I may drop that bar on my chest. The truth of the matter is, when the gym bros watch me, there's part of me that's like, ugh, men, how dare you look at women? But there's another part of me that's like, please look at me because I'm not safe and I'm too prideful to ask for a spot. But I do need you to subtly spot me from a distance, which is what I know you're doing, kind man. But I also must retain my public persona as a misandrist. Guys, this is all farcical right now. I'm telling you a big joke. None of this happens. Obviously, no one at my gym is in love with me. Come on, guys. Come on. It's a joke. They did look at me. When I went to the gym after stream the other day, everyone was looking at me because it turns out really serious people go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning, like the most serious gym people. And I went and they were all looking at me and I was like, why is everyone looking at me? And it's not only because I'm not a serious gym person, so I was obviously doing every exercise wrong. And that causes serious gym people to be like, oh, she has no fucking idea what she's doing. Why is she at the gym at 4:30 in the morning? But the other thing is, because I went after stream, I had a full beat on my face. So I'm turning up to the gym with a full face of makeup at 4:30. These people are like, what time did she wake up to put up a full face of makeup in order to come to the gym, only to work out when she'll have to wash off that makeup to put makeup on again? Why would she do this? So I was confusing people, which I get. I won't be going back at 4:30. Why am I looking at everyone looking at me? Because I look at everyone in the gym. I'm literally like, you know, when people are like, no one's looking at you at the gym. I am. I'm 100% looking at you. I'm looking at you when I'm on the Stairmaster, I'm looking at you when I'm lifting weights, I'm looking at you when I'm taking a break. I'm looking at everyone. I'm looking at all of you. Why? Because I'm a busybody. I'm fascinated by people. I love looking at people. What am I going to look at? The fucking ground? Yeah, I know, Rokas. I really felt like an outsider. I only ended up doing half of my exercises because I was like, this is the problem. I know I'm doing everything wrong. You may make a comment. It's not like I'm at the gym with perfect form, okay? So I'm already aware that I'm doing it wrong. So when I see someone watch me, it's like, okay, now we're both aware that I'm doing this wrong. And now you're wondering, why is this girl with terrible form at the gym? That is not my best quality. Thank you, Asa, but no, actually no, I don't. And when I went, I was working glutes and I just knew I was doing everything wrong and they were all watching me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going. I'm leaving. I'm not made for this life. Okay, I'm going to say something and I'm going to lose a lot of you. And that's okay. But this is something I've decided. I've just decided as a rule, because like I'm currently dating when I can be bothered. I actually fucking hate it. But I'm currently in that field where I ought to be dating, right? I've decided, okay, bye, Ali. Mwah. I don't have to be hot. I got everything else going for me. I've just decided, like, that can be for other people. That can be for boring people. I don't have the energy to do that. You want a chick with a perfect body, go have her. That's just like, it's not going to be me because I have to do things like monitor the situation. You know? I don't have time to perfect my form. Oh, good, Mum. I'm doing government psyops. Do you like to go to the gym with someone you know to cheerleader? No. If you talk to me while I'm doing something, I'll stop. Yeah, I know everyone tells me I look like Erica Kirk. I get Erica Kirk, I get Sabrina Carpenter, I get evil people. Anyway, I'm not monitoring that's my, now you know. I went from saying everyone in the gym was in love with me to deciding I don't have to be hot. We went full circle. She's not evil. I just don't like being told constantly that I look like her. And I don't. And I say, what have you... Why are you coming here telling me I look evil? I'm actually really nice. Helium's fucked, apparently. That's great. I only thought we needed it for balloons, but I'm sure there's a bunch of really important things that we really, really need. And I don't think Sabrina Carpenter is ugly. I have been told... okay, can I just tell you guys, as a rule, something I don't like? And it's fine because it's like, obviously you're going to do it. But I don't like being told who you think I look like. Because sometimes, even if you think that that person is really good looking, I might not think they're good looking. And it might hurt my feelings, okay? And there's a couple of people that I've been told that I look like. Like, there are people I know I look like. It's not about, like, how hot that... Like, I get told I look like Jodie Comer a lot. And I'm fine with that because I love Jodie Comer. And it's more about her essence. So I don't mind looking like her. But, like, there have been some people that I've been told that I look like that really hurt my feelings. And I just don't think we need to do it. People just look like themselves. Oh, I don't care. I wasn't talking about you and NXA. I'm just saying generally, I don't like to... I try never to do it to other people because you never know who someone thinks is fucking ugly. Okay. I think we'll do China. Betty White aura. Fucking love that. Hell yeah. Childish Gambino's hot. Okay. Iran is planning to levy a 10% toll on all ships passing through the strait. That will generate a $73 billion a year, completely offsetting US sanctions. Incredible move. And paying for the war damages. Okay. Next stream, which I think will be tomorrow. Mum. We'll focus on China. And if a China war is going to break out, we might do a little bit of situation monitoring in case everything explodes before then. So we'll do some monitoring. We'll do some China. There's nothing fun to talk about in the world right now. There's nothing fun happening. What's that about? Not into it, guys. What is my dating situation? My dating situation is that I'm dating, but I'm not really dating because... Oh, it's so fucking annoying. I actually fucking hate getting to know people. I hate people. I hate talking to people. I hate meeting them. I hate people so much. I ought to be dating, but instead I'm... It's not my job. It's not my job. That's a full sentence. Full stop. I can't watch trailers, Case, because they DMCA me. So we can't even do fun things like watch movie trailers, which I'd love to do. Okay. I'm not saying anything. You're available. You need to clear it with your wife. I'm more likely to want to date your wife. People have been going back and copywriting all my old stuff. Like all of my Netanyahu stuff's been copyrighted by random Arabic news channels. And I'm like, do I want to dispute it? But I'm worried that if I dispute it and it fails, that it'll put a strike against my channel. So I'm like, maybe not enough people watch them anyway. It's not like I need money. I actually don't talk this much in my private life, JD Vivens. My ideal relationship is one where I just get to completely switch off my brain. I don't want to be thinking. I do enough of that. Privately. I don't want to be talking when I'm not here. Predictive history, is that Professor Jiang? Maybe I'll do a video about why he sucks. Exactly, fully redacted. You get it. I don't have time for that because I must monitor the situation. I also want to make a video where I take all of the crazy things that Donald Trump has said during this war. You guys are going to think I'm a coke addict. I'm truly not on drugs. I don't know why my nose is itchy. Okay, but I don't even know how to dispute it because I think I can dispute it as fair use, that I've transformed it, but we'll see. I know, NXA, my life is a mess. I don't need to pick my nose. It's itchy like that. Like it's not itchy like that. You guys? Oh my God. You're so annoying, all of you. This is why I can't take. This is how easily I get triggered. Pick your nose. Fuck off. Okay. Also, is there anything else? We're so fucked. I will. Casual. Causal. Casual. Causal. These are the moments where I'm like, do I have that disease? Where you can't. Dyslexia? Okay, guys. I'm actually going to be the one to fuck off. I think I told you this already, James. Well, I told chat this already. I don't know if you were here, but in my bio on the apps, I say I want to talk about 9/11 because it's like the quickest way to get crazy people out. You would be shocked at what people slide in when you have that as your prompt. People say things they should not be saying. It's a very quick way to be like, nah. Okay, well, hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to do some more analysis. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm not even kidding. In the meantime, try and find something that can make us happy. Mwah. Okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Bye, guys.